Jenna stood in our new kitchen, snapped her fingers at me, and told me to wipe the quartz counters properly, not like a rental. I was still in my boots, still hauling boxes. The movers were two kids trying not to smirk. She didn't say please. She didn't even look at me. She pointed like I was on her payroll. Sure, I told her, grabbing a rag. Want me to clock in, or is this charity work? She gave a small laugh that wasn't a laugh. Let's not be dramatic, Mark. We're setting standards. Moving was supposed to be the reset. New zip code, new house, new chance. I'd sold her on the idea months ago because our old place had turned into a museum of unfinished things. I thought this would be the clean slate. I didn't know then what she'd really moved us next to. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have labeled the boxes differently. Keep, donate, burn. We spent week one unloading. She gave orders like a foreman. That goes to the garage, that to the attic. No, not there. When I tried to joke, she went cool. Focus, Mark, she said, tapping her watch. By Saturday, we had a lawn service, a dog walker we didn't need, and a neighborhood app exploding with welcome messages. Jenna absorbed it all like she'd been elected mayor. I grilled burgers on the patio while she toured the house with Nicole, her friend from work who'd driven over to consult on aesthetics. Nicole glanced my way. He cooks too? Wow. Keeper. Jenna raised an eyebrow. He tries. We'll see if he can follow a recipe without wandering off. I slid the plate down. I can read, Nicole. And I can also count how many forks I washed today. Jenna smirked. You want applause? I decided to keep it light. If there's a clapping schedule, send me the calendar invite. They shared a look. It landed like a small stone. Not fatal. Not yet. That night, I brought up the tone. Hey, I said, sorting screws for the TV mount. I'm not staff. If something's bugging you, tell me. But don't talk to me like I'm the help. She leaned in the doorway with a glass of Pinot. You're sensitive all of a sudden? Always had skin, I replied. Not my first day being a person. Then act like one. Don't make me repeat myself. She sipped and went upstairs. I let it slide. First week. Exhaustion brings out the worst. I told myself that and got back to work. Sunday we met the block. The HOA president, Ron, came over with a grin and a folder. Welcome to the cul-de-sac, he said. Trash days Friday, no street parking after midnight, and we like our hedges even. Copy that, I told him. Behind him was a slim guy in a navy polo and a woman in a sundress. The guy stuck out a hand. I'm Chris. That's my wife, Tessa. We're across the street. Tessa waved. I brought cookies. Chocolate chip. If you have an allergy, good luck. I laughed. Jenna didn't. She eyed Chris's watch, then Tessa's shoes, doing mental math. Nice to meet you, Jenna said. We should do a dinner soon. Compare contractors. Chris smiled. Absolutely. This neighborhood has a group chat for everything. Tessa handed me the cookies and turned to Jenna. If you need anything, yell. We all pretend we can do it ourselves until something floods. Jenna's face softened a notch. I'm sure Mark can handle a flood. He says he's handy. I put the cookies on the counter. Handy enough to find the shut-off valve and read a guide. Handy enough, she echoed, already moving on. The next week, she tightened the screws. At the hardware store, I checked out with a cart full of anchors and a stud finder. The cashier made small talk, asked if I knew what I was doing. Jenna cut in. He'll make 3 holes to hang one frame. It's part of his charm. In the parking lot, I set the boxes in the truck bed and closed the tailgate harder than necessary. You're welcome, I told her, for the wall art and the personality critique. Oh, relax, she said, buckling her seatbelt. People like jokes. They like respect more. She looked out the window. Don't be so needy. So I made a call. That night, while she was on the neighborhood app, I set up a shared spreadsheet and split the house tasks, budgets, and timelines into columns. No more invisible labor dumping ground. No more Mark will figure it out. I slid the laptop over. These are the jobs. These are the costs. This is the time. Pick what you want. I'll cover my column. We check in Sunday mornings. 30 minutes max. If it takes longer, we cut items. She blinked. Are you serious? I'm organized. Shocking, I know. That's controlling. It's boundaries. I'm not available for constant corrections. This is the format. She stared at the screen like it had insulted her. Then she closed it. Fine, she said. But we're having a housewarming. Big one. I want everyone to see the place. Great. One rule, I added, leaning back. No jokes at my expense. You want to roast me? Sign a waiver and bring a fire extinguisher. Her smile thinned. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not. I'm telling you my line. She shrugged. We'll see. And there it was, a small promise wrapped in a shrug. The week before the party, she tried soft power. She came into the garage on Tuesday with a coffee and an apology that sounded almost real. I was sharp, she said, setting the cup on the workbench. I know you're doing a lot. Thank you. I watched her. Appreciate that. I booked the caterer, she went on. You don't have to grill. And I told Nicole to chill. She can be extra. That'll help, I said. Also, on Sunday, we do the 30-minute check-in. Non-negotiable. She nodded. Sure. And, this is silly, but wear the gray shirt I bought you. You look good in it. Small olive branch. Not much shade, but it existed. Friday night, the block came alive. Cars lined the curb. Laughter bounced off brick. The patio lights did their job. I walked trays out while Jenna floated, narrating upgrades like a tour guide. Crown molding next, she told a cluster. And a built-in for his tools, so they stopped cluttering my garage. A few chuckled. I set down sliders and let it roll off. Tessa arrived in jeans and a loose tee, ponytail up, a lightness in her steps that didn't match Jenna's stiffness. Place looks good, Tessa said, handing me a six-pack. Smells like new money and old drywall. Accurate, I said. Glad you came. Chris followed, gave Jenna a hug that stayed innocent one beat too long. Or maybe I was counting beats because I was already irritated. He and Jenna exchanged a look I couldn't read. I filed it. By 10, the house was warm and people were happy. I'd talked to Ron about hedges, to a teacher about the district, to a paramedic about response times. Jenna gathered everyone near the kitchen island, lifted a glass, and tapped it with a spoon. Attention, she called, smiling wide. As the hostess, I have a special offer. Limited time, neighbors only. I set down a plate and listened. I'd already said my boundary. This was her test. She raised her voice. I'll give up my husband for $100 and a burger. Any takers? The room laughed. It wasn't friendly laughter. It had edges. A few people looked at me, measuring my face. I put my hand on the island, breathed once, and reached for the nearest bottle opener. If I responded then, I'd detonate the party. I was already calculating my next move. Before I could speak, Tessa stepped forward from the edge of the island, peeled a $100 stack from a slim wallet like she'd been waiting for this show, and placed it next to Jenna's glass. I'll take him, she said deadpan. Silence. Jenna's smile went rigid. She scanned Tessa's face, then mine. Tessa let the pause stretch. Then she grinned and shook her head. You should have seen your face. A few people barked out real laughter then, the kind that breaks tension. Jenna forced a laugh and clinked her glass with someone's, but she didn't look at me. I slid the stack back to Tessa. That's your grocery money, I said dry. You'll need it for all the hedge trimming Ron's about to fine you for. Ron raised his can. Don't tempt me. Jenna moved on, changing the subject to paint colors. I poured more sodas. The joke had landed wrong for her, and it showed. For me, it landed exactly right. Not because Tessa picked a side, but because a mirror got held up and everyone in the room saw what I'd been feeling, the way a person can get turned into a prop if you let it slide. After midnight, the place thinned out. I bagged trash and loaded the dishwasher while Jenna scrolled through photos, hunting for angles she liked. I was kidding, she said finally. Sure, I told her, tying a bag. So was Tessa. You're not actually mad. I'm doing dishes, I said. I'm not doing a scene. That's not an answer. It's the answer you get tonight. She rolled her eyes, muttered something about thin skin, and went upstairs. When the door closed, I stepped onto the patio with a bottle of water and saw the soft light in the house across the street. Tessa was on her porch alone, elbows on the railing. I walked over, stopped at the bottom step. Thanks, I said. You didn't have to. She tilted her head. I didn't do anything heroic. I just bumped the joke into a wall so it wouldn't run over you. Still, she looked down the street. You okay, Mark? I'm not fragile. I just don't like being used as a party trick. Everybody saw it, she said. Everybody also saw you not blow up. That matters. I nodded. It's not normal. No, she said quietly. It's not. And I don't know your business. I'm a stranger with a porch. But if I were you, I'd stop standing where she can trip you. People only do that when it works. I know, I said. I've known for a while. She gave a dry smile. And I've known my share too. We stood there a minute, neighbors and not confidants. I told her thanks again and went home. The next morning, I set my next rule. Jenna planned a brunch with Nicole and 2 couples from the block. I canceled it. We're not doing group therapy in public, I told her. No more ambushes. If we entertain, it's with respect. If you want to perform, do it somewhere else. You can't cancel my plans, she snapped. I just did, I replied, setting my phone down. And I refunded the deposit on that ridiculous floral wall. We're not printing our initials like it's prom. She quieted. She tried a different lane an hour later. Hand on my forearm in the pantry, softer voice. I overdid it, she said. I was trying to be funny. I'm under pressure, okay? New house, new rules. I wanted to look put together. You could try decent to the person paying half the mortgage, I said. Okay, she breathed. Okay. She cooked that night. That was new. Or at least rare. She made chicken, oversalted and proud. This is me meeting you halfway, she said. I ate, thanked her. I didn't move my boundary an inch. Monday, I took a long look at my week and took control of my time. I told my team at the shop I'd be off-site Wednesday afternoon. I wanted one clean window to test a theory I didn't like. Wednesday came. Jenna left at 9 in athleisure, hair up, said she had errands and a studio class. I waited, did emails, went to the shop. At 11:30, I told Paul, my right hand, that I had to check on a supplier. He squinted at me. You look like a guy about to scout a problem, he said. I'm about to confirm a pattern, I answered. Want backup? I want this to be wrong. It won't be. I parked 2 blocks from the house around 12:15 and watched the door. At 12:30, Jenna called a rideshare. She got in. I followed. The car stopped at a restaurant on the edge of town with patio seating and too much glass. Chris was there. He hugged her at the door, 2 beats too long this time. They went inside. I took a table across the street at a sandwich shop. I didn't eat. When they stood, they held hands like it was muscle memory. They walked to a car I didn't recognize and drove to a place behind a discount furniture store. A motel sat 2 turns back from the main road, the kind of place no one looks at on purpose. I parked, stepped out, and took 2 photos from across the lot. Them at the office window. Them at a door. Then I went home. The house smelled like fresh lemon cleaner and a staged life. I took a suitcase from the closet and put Jenna's clothes in it. Not all. Just enough to make a point and limit the conversation. I set the suitcase by the front door and put her toiletries in a clear bag on top. Then I sat at the kitchen table and waited. At 5:40, the door opened. She stepped in, stopped at the suitcase, and then looked at me. What are you doing home? Thought I'd try the counters again, I said lightly. You were specific about streaks. She set her keys down like she owned the air. Mark, I'm not in the mood. Then let's keep it easy, I said. How was lunch? She took a breath. Normal. Errands. Want to try again? Are you accusing me of something? I'm asking if there's anything you want to tell me. She stared, then looked past me at the backyard. Not a muscle in her face said concern. It said calculation. No, she said. Nothing you'd understand. I set my phone on the table face up and opened the photo roll to the 2 pictures. I angled the screen. She glanced down. A corner of her mouth ticked like she'd heard the punchline too early. Oh, she said. So we're doing this. We're saying what's been obvious, I replied. We're being adults. She shrugged. I thought you'd take longer to connect dots. Because you think I'm slow? Or because you like long games? I think you like comfortable lies, she said. You always have. I nodded once. So this house wasn't about us. It was about proximity. She raised her eyebrows. You're not entirely clueless. How long have you known him? She laughed. Don't worry about the math, detective. You're late to the party. I let the silence do the work. She stepped closer to the suitcase, finally acknowledging it. What's this, then? You throwing me out? I'm giving you 2 options, I told her. You take that bag and you go. Or I call across the street in 10 minutes and share my 2 favorite photos. Her eyes sharpened. For the first time, a crack. I'd asked the right question earlier. You wouldn't, she said. Pick up the bag, I replied. Clock's running. She tried one more angle. You think this makes you strong? You think packing a suitcase makes you a man? I think boundaries make me a man, I said evenly. And I think protecting someone else's dignity makes me a neighbor. She squared her shoulders. I'm not begging. Good, I said. Neither am I. She took the suitcase, gripped the handle like it offended her, and walked out. The door shut with weight. She didn't go across the street. She drove away. I texted Paul. I'm off tomorrow morning. Emergencies only. He sent a thumbs up and a short "you good?" I answered, better than yesterday. I slept in the guest room with the door locked. Not fear, just order. Sunlight came in clean. At 9, I watched across the street. Tessa left in running shoes, came back with a coffee, and went inside. No car in their driveway but hers. I gave it 30 minutes, then went over. I rang. She opened, saw me, and the look on her face said she knew something, but not what. Do you have a minute? I asked. She stepped back. If it's about hedges, I'm not trimming anything today. It's not plants, I said. It's respect. She led me to the kitchen. Chris is at work, she said. What's? I showed her the photos. No speech, just images. Her hand went to the back of a chair. Not drama, balance. How sure are you? She asked, voice low. I was in the parking lot, I answered. Yesterday, 12:50 to 1:40. She looked at me, then at the window, then back. And Jenna? Packed. Gone. She took a breath. Okay. I'm not here to cause a scene, I said. I'm here because you called out a joke last week that needed calling out, and you did it in a way that saved me and embarrassed the right person. I respect that. You deserve the same. She nodded. Thank you. We can keep this simple, I added. I'm ending my marriage. Do what you need to do with yours. She stood straighter. I will. We exchanged numbers. We didn't hug. I stepped onto her porch and she followed. I'm sorry, she said, and it wasn't for me to accept or reject. It just sat between us, accurate. I'm sorry too, I said, for the part where I ignored the signs. Everybody ignores them when there's history, she answered. Then one photo makes a better historian than 10 conversations. I nodded. I won't be the guy with the 10 conversations anymore. Back at my place, I changed the locks. Not to trap, to finalize. I texted Jenna a short message. Your things are in the front hall closet and the garage rack. The new code is for deliveries only. Contact me by text about logistics. No drop-ins. She wrote back 10 minutes later. Be reasonable. Then, we need to talk like adults. Then, I'll come by at 6. At 6, I won't be here, I replied. Paul can meet you and hand you the rest of your boxes. He's neutral. Keep it calm. She tried a different script late afternoon. Showed up at the shop with takeout and makeup you could see from space. Paul intercepted her and came to my office. Your wife's here, he said. She brought peace offerings. Tell her this is a workplace, I said. No personal drop-ins. She can text. He watched me. You're not playing around. No, I said. Not anymore. Paul went back out. I heard muffled voices. Then the door chimed and her heels hit the sidewalk. Paul came back. She's not happy, he said. She'll live. He gave a half smile. You want me here tonight when she gets her stuff? She's bringing backup? She mentioned Nicole. I considered and shook my head. It's fine. Everything's labeled. No arguments necessary. At 6:10, my phone pinged. Photos of boxes in her trunk. A terse got them. No thank you. No apology. She sent another at 8:30. You humiliated me. Overreacting. I typed and deleted twice. Then I sent one line. You did that work yourself. The next morning, I knocked at Tessa's again. She opened fast this time, as if she hadn't left the hallway. I'm going to tell him tonight, she said before I spoke. I needed one day to get steady. I figured, I said. Do you want me to be around? She thought. No, but I want you to know I'm doing it. Okay. She glanced at the street. What are you going to do about the neighborhood? Live in it, I said. I'm not changing grocery stores or taking the long way home. I paid for this curb like everyone else. She smiled without humor. Good. Jenna tried another tactic on day 3. She called from a blocked number, then texted from her own. Let's start over, she wrote. We both said things. I replied. We said truths. I'm not walking them back. Then she sent the longest message I'd seen from her in months. It was all about pressure, expectations, performing. It barely mentioned behavior. It asked for a dinner to reset. It used the word team 3 times. I sent 2 sentences. I'm not your audience. I'm not a prop. Logistics only. That night, Nicole showed up on my doorstep like a storm with lipstick. She didn't knock. She buzzed my phone through the smart doorbell until I answered. Jenna's at her parents', Nicole said into the speaker. You need to stop being dramatic. You're making her look bad. I opened the app, activated the external speaker, and let my voice go flat. Nicole, you're on my porch on a weeknight with that sentence. She crossed her arms. People are talking. They were talking at our party, I said. It didn't move me then either. Men couldn't handle what she handled, she snapped. She's strong. Strength without respect is theater, I replied. Find another stage. I ended the call. She stood there a second and then left. I exhaled through my nose, went to the garage, and tuned a carburetor on the bike I'd been rebuilding. Not to escape, to choose. Tessa texted at 10, told him. He blamed you, then me, then the weather. I showed him the photos. He packed a bag and went to his brother's. I'm filing paperwork as soon as I line up the logistics I need. Good, I replied. I'm doing the same. We agreed on one thing. No drama, no triangulation. If someone asked, we'd tell the truth in a sentence and keep moving. On day 5, Jenna tried the last tactic left, charm. She arrived at noon with my favorite sandwich, a smile I used to like, and a hand on my chest like we were a team again. I miss you, she said. You missed the script, I answered, stepping back. It's over. She looked at the house, at the grill, at the shrubs she'd named like pets. You'll ruin the neighborhood dynamic. The neighborhood will survive, I said. It survived Halloween blow-ups and Christmas inflatables that blocked air traffic. It'll survive 2 adults being honest. She searched my face for softness. You're really going to live across from a woman who told the truth when it counted? I cut in. Yes, we're good. She let the smile drop. You're making a mistake. I made one already, I said. I trusted a person who likes crowds more than commitments. I won't make it twice. She set the sandwich on the railing like an offering. I won't beg. You've said that, I told her. It's the only sentence you've repeated lately that I believe. She left the food, turned, and walked to her car. At the curb, she stopped and looked toward Chris and Tessa's. She didn't go there. She drove away. Later, I heard she went to her parents again. Then, a week later, I heard she and Chris both left the block for a different city. That wasn't my business anymore. My business was the garage, the shop, the quiet, and the circle of people who spoke plainly. Before they left, there was one more public scene. HOA meeting on Ron's lawn. I wasn't going to skip it. I stood with a coffee while Ron droned about mailbox heights. Jenna showed up with Nicole, chin high. Ron cleared his throat. Any new business? Nicole raised a hand. Just a note. This community values image. We should all be careful what we put on display. Agreed, I said. I didn't look at them. Like selling your spouse for a sandwich in your own kitchen. A ripple went through the chairs. Ron coughed into his clipboard. Tessa didn't speak. She didn't have to. She stood 2 chairs away, arms crossed. Eyes on Ron like mailbox heights were the only thing happening. Jenna lifted her chin. You really want to do this here? I did it at home, I said. This is the epilogue. Ron clapped his hands once. Okay. Mailboxes. People laughed just enough to end it. After the meeting, I walked home slow. Tessa caught up. You good? She asked. Solid, I said. You? She shrugged. Not my favorite month, but clarity helps. That it does. We didn't linger. We went to our separate houses like adults who had lawns to mow and sinks to fix. The next weeks were clean and practical. I rerouted automatic payments, separated the joint account, and changed my morning routine. I started lifting at 6 with my neighbor Ed from 2 doors down, a retired firefighter who hates idle hands. He grunted between sets. Hurt a little bit, he said. You're handling it quiet. Noise doesn't fix things, I replied. Truth does, he said, racking the bar. You did right. At the shop, Paul took one look at me on a Thursday, slid a coffee across the counter, and said, You're lighter. I'm precise, I answered. Big difference. He smiled. Precision pays. Tessa and I had a rule. We were neighbors, not a rebound cliché. We waved, traded Amazon packages dropped on the wrong porch, and once helped Ron wrestle a grill cover during a wind gust. On a Saturday afternoon, we ended up talking while our trash bins lined the curb. You doing okay on meals? She asked, glancing toward my house. Single-person cooking is a math problem. I've solved it with eggs and a skillet, I said, and the deli down the road. She laughed. Classic. We didn't go further than that. No hand-holding. No long texts. No late-night porch confessions. We kept the line clear and bright. Two people who had been humiliated didn't fix it by creating a new mess. Jenna texted once more. I'll be by to get the last of my stuff. I told her Paul would be there Saturday at 10. She replied, fine. She arrived with her dad. He didn't look at me. He kept his eyes on the boxes and the floor. When they were done, she stood in the doorway and looked at the living room she'd staged like a magazine. This could have been different, she said. It could have, I agreed, if respect had shown up. She waited for me to give her a slice of memory to take. I didn't. Take care, Mark, she said. You too, I answered. She closed the door softly, almost kindly, like that would rewrite the noise she'd made while the cameras were pointed at her. I got back to my life. The house became mine in small, satisfying ways. I put my workbench where the floral wall would have gone. I swapped the fancy, dim dining room lights for something that actually let you see what you were eating. I took the shared spreadsheet off my laptop because I didn't need permission to manage my own time. On Sundays, I did my own 30-minute check-in at the patio table. Projects, bills, the week's schedule. It took 20 minutes. Funny how much faster it moves when one person isn't making a show of being busy. Work picked up. I landed a city contract to maintain a fleet of service vans. Paul said it was because I seemed uncluttered. He wasn't wrong. I could look a client in the eye and mean what I said. The language of a man with nothing left to hide and no interest in performing. I bought a used pickup I'd wanted for years and parked it in my driveway, without asking anyone how it looked from the street. Ed came over with a tape measure, and we installed a hitch in under an hour, then drank water like we'd run a marathon. He told me I looked 10 years younger. I told him I'd settle for 10 pounds lighter, and we both called it even. Tessa's life settled too. I saw her sister visiting more, saw her walking with a brunette neighbor from the corner who kept her jokes gentle. Once, Tessa knocked to borrow a stud finder. I handed it to her, and she grinned. I won't make 3 holes, she said. I smiled back. I never did. But go ahead, reclaim the slander. She returned it the next day with cookies again. I ate one on the porch and realized I liked my porch now. It was mine. Months rolled. People forgot the party. They never forget the feeling it gave them. The block adjusted. New people moved in 2 doors down with twin toddlers who screamed in stereo. Ron fined someone for a mailbox violation and then got fined himself because Karma is an administrative assistant with a clipboard. Jenna and Chris sold their place and moved. I heard it secondhand and didn't get curious past that. My life had right-sized. There was no hole to fill, just space to use. One evening, Tessa and I ended up on the sidewalk at the same time, putting out bins. It was early fall. Cool air, none of the drama of a season change, just a slight shift. We made it through, she said, like she was presenting a badge. We did more than that, I replied. We set a standard. Think they ever get it? She asked. Doesn't matter, I said. We did. We stood there a minute listening to a baseball game from someone's open window. Then she tapped the top of her bin. Thanks for that night, she said. At the party. You didn't embarrass her back. You could have. I'm not in the business of trading digs, I said. I prefer invoices. Paid in full. She nodded. Guess we're square then. I'd say so. We went inside. That's the story. I moved for love and got the map to someone else's schedule. She needed proximity and image. I needed respect. Only one of those needs is negotiable, and it wasn't mine. The last thing Jenna heard from me face to face was simple. She stood in the doorway, that final day, waiting for one more chance to drag me into a scene. Anything else? She asked. I grabbed my keys off the hook, looked past her at the street I wasn't leaving, and shook my head. No, I said. Show's over.